Hello, EFM Glenelg. I'm giving a great big virtual hug through the screen. So nice to not see you. That doesn't make sense. It's so nice that you can join me. I'm going to go through some Pilates and some stretching. I'm going to make a kind of a brief session so that you can keep doing them at home and you can replay. And I'll keep on adding on, and then you can put two together. So maybe about 25 minutes worth, something like that. What I really want to do first up is get some deep breathing happening. Stay with me. I think some of you might think this is a bit boring, but how important is it to take those deep breaths? Helps calm the mind, helps us mentally, helps us physically, and it'll help us as we progress through this Pilates class. So I want you to get your hands, I want your little fingers on your hip bones and the top part of the thumb, near the palm of the hand on your ribs, if you can kind of wangle around that way. And I want you to take the biggest breath in that you can and see if you can separate your ribs from your hips, and then breathing out and let it come together. So that's what we're going to do to start off with. Another couple of those. Big breath in, separate the hands, separate the ribs from the hips, and breathing out. One more. And breathing out. We're going to do that again just for another 10 seconds or so, but let's think about what we're doing with the rest of our body. So our feet are about hip width apart. My toes are nicely spread into the floor, and I've got my toes, the balls of my feet, the heels of my feet, all as firmly pushing into the floor as I can. My feet are pointing in the same direction. Have a peek down, because sometimes we twist and we don't realize, so make sure everything's squared up. Think about pushing those feet down while you draw your kneecaps up. Think about a lift of pelvic floor, gently drawing belly into spine. Maybe those inner thighs draw in a little bit. Think about the tallest spine you can get. So think about each vertebrae coming higher, higher, and higher until the crown of the head is as high as it can go. Let your shoulders roll back and down, and maybe tuck the chin just slightly so we get length right up through the spine, through the base of the skull. From here, we're going to take a big breath in. We're going to keep the lower body exactly where it is, upper body, only the arms raised. So try and keep it square and centered here. Breathing out to come down. Think about that deep breath again. Big breath in, come up. And breathing out to let it go down. Relax those shoulders as you bring it down. Big breath in, come up. And breathing out. We'll go one more. As you take those arms up, see if you can get the shoulders relaxed as they rotate up. And breathing out to come down. Just a couple of stretches here. I'm going to go side on for you. I'm still in that same position. My feet are hip width apart. I'm drawing the kneecaps up. I'm lifting the pelvic floor. My shoulders are rolled back and down. Chin's tucked. Crown of the head's right up toward the ceiling. Take a big breath in. And as you breathe out, start rolling the spine. Start with the neck spine. Then we go into that upper back, middle back. If you need to bend your knees at any time, you can, but that's okay. Whatever feels good to protect your lower back. And what we're really aiming on doing here, you're breathing normally now, by the way, never hold your breath. We're just letting that upper body relax as we hang here. Maybe a little stretch through hamstrings, maybe a little stretch through lower back. Take a big breath in, we're going to curl it back up again. As you breathe out, draw the belly in, gently lift the pelvic floor, and curl the spine vertebrae by vertebrae all the way up to the top. Coming up super tall, breathing normally. We'll stand here for one more second and we go again. Breath in. And as I breathe out, I'm curling the spine down, gently, 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 curling through, gently drawing the belly in, gently lifting through the pelvic floor. Your choice of straight legs, slightly bent knees, very bent knees, I don't mind. And we'll hang here just for a moment. And then I want you to start walking your hands and getting your hands down onto the floor. Bent knees or straight knees, again, I don't mind. Walking those hands through, and we're going into a plank position. I'm just going to change my feet slightly so I can stay in the screen. I'm set up with my hands under my shoulders and my my feet in that nice length position. If you want to, you can come down to your knees. That'll take a little pressure off your shoulders. But I want everyone to think about midsection. Think about gently drawing belly in, gently lifting through pelvic floor, whether you're on your knees or your toes. Roll those shoulders back and down. And we're going to hold here just for another 10 seconds or so, focusing on midsection. Keep drawing the belly up. Keep drawing the pelvic floor up, gently lifting in through waist. Keep those shoulders rolled back and down. Everyone's coming down onto knees, and we're all stretching back. We're just going to hold here for a nice stretch. Think about taking your hands forward that little bit further, and then sink the bottom down so we can lengthen through the upper body. Maybe you feel a little stretch through triceps, maybe down through the sides of the back, through the lats. Sink down as low as your knees will let you go. Maybe your bottom's touching your feet. Maybe it's a little bit up like mine. Maybe it's very up. But as long as you've got your length through your upper body, that's what we're aiming for, is to stretch through here. From here, coming up onto your hands, I don't want you to reset, and I'm going to come a little bit closer to the screen. I want you to reset so your hands are under your shoulders and your knees are under your hips. We're taking a big breath in to curl the spine up, up, up. Keep breathing and breathing and breathing, and draw the belly super strong. And then breathing out, we're arching the back in the other direction. Tailbone goes up to the ceiling. Our head looks up as well. Take a big breath in, curl up. Use the breath either way, so whether you breathe in one direction or breathe out in that direction, it doesn't matter, as long as you've got a slow breath in one direction and a breath out in the other. For me, it's a breath in as I curl up, and a breath out as I arch my back in the other direction. And we release to neutral spine here. We're going to go into some extensions here. So again, setting up with hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Take a big breath in. Think about drawing belly in. Think about lifting through pelvic floor. Think about drawing the waist in as well. We're going to float opposite arm and leg off the floor. Your body is as still as a statue. Take a big breath in. As you breathe out, think about gently drawing belly into spine. Think about gently lifting through pelvic floor. My lounge chair is in the way. I'm not really intending on going up very high at all. Breath in to come back in. We keep working this same side. So don't plant the hand. Keep it just off the floor. Keep the knee just off the floor. Breath out to extend out again. Now, I'm not doing a great job because of the lounge, but what I want you to know is that I don't want to go high with this one. So I'll show you what I'm not aiming for. I'm not aiming for a big back arch and big movement. What I'm aiming for is super slow and steady and length, and I'm aiming for everything through here, my spine, my belly to lock on strong and not move too much at all. So you're almost like a statue, apart from your floating, slow motion, and leg. Let's go two more. Breath out to float out. I'm sorry, my leg's not doing the right thing. Breath in to come in. I know you're doing the right thing. Keep on going. One more. Take your time. Breath out to float out. It's so good that we have the technology to be able to share some workouts, even though we can't be in the same room, and it's a wonderful thing that we can do that. I'm going to flip so that my leg can do the right thing in this one. So we're changing opposite arm and leg, doing the same exercise. Take a big breath in. As you breathe out, gently draw the belly in, gently lift through pelvic floor, gently draw the waist in. I'm going long through the body, not high. Breath in to come back in again. Beautiful. So when we do this, I know that sometimes you have to turn to look at the screen, but I will try and cue and try and tell you what to do so you don't have to look up so much, because we want neutral spine from the head all the way down the neck, down the spine to the tailbone. Breath in to reset, breath out is when we float out. Gently draw the belly and waist in, pelvic floor lifts, breath in to come in. Over time, the breath comes more naturally. So just breathe how you feel it feels good for you, and join in with the breath when you feel you can add that in. So again, we're going for slow motion movements. And I think we've got two more here. Breath out to float out. I'm gently drawing the belly in. I'm gently lifting through pelvic floor. I'm trying to keep my head and neck in that neutral position. Last one's here. Breath out to float out. And breath in to come in. Well done, release. Come and sit back on your knees if your knees feel okay to do that. If they don't, come up onto the top of your knees. I've got my toes curled under, and I'm just going to sit back as much as my knees let me. It's not all the way, just to stretch out the feet. And I want us to roll our wrists. So give those a little release, and the other way. Excellent, and we release here. We're going to come down into a lying on our backs position. And we're going to do pretty much the same thing, but in a tabletop at knees, or a dead buck if you want to call it that. So I want you to think about your arms going up high, but our shoulders releasing back onto the floor. We're taking a big breath in, and we're going to alternate side to side this time. Breath out to extend one arm and leg out nice and long. I'm sinking the belly really strong. Breath in to come back in. And smooth as silk, we slide to the other side. Breath out to float out. And breath in to come in. So if we're not thinking about what's happening through the middle, we can do this without feeling a thing. But what I want you to focus on, because the arm and leg are floating, we don't need to worry about them. What I want you to focus on is your midsection. As you breathe out and float out, think about sinking the belly into the spine. Think about drawing the waist in on each side. Think about lifting pelvic floor. So they're the 3 cues that help usually to switch on through those deep pelvic floor core muscles. And when we think about gently drawing belly in, gently lifting pelvic floor, gently drawing waist in, gently is the big word here. It's the most important word. So I really want you not to do that big gauge and switch on and drawing up. It's a gentle sink of belly. It's a gentle lift of pelvic floor. Keep going. Breath out to go out. Breath in to come back in. Breath out to go out. Breath in to come back in. Do you know, audible breathing can help as well. So fill up the lungs and then you can make a noise as you breathe out. Breath in to come back in. We've got one more to go. Let those shoulders relax back to the floor. Breath out to float out. And breath in to come back in. Nicely done. Let your feet go down to the floor. Let those legs stick together. Upper body stays relaxed. Take a big breath in. As you breathe out, you're going to rotate the legs over one way, keeping the upper body square and relaxed. Breath in to come back in. So this one's more of a stretch rather than an activation. So you might feel a little gentle stretch down through the outer thigh, through the glutes, through the lower back, wherever you maybe feel a little tight. It's a really nice release. So if you're watching Netflix or something stuck at home, or in between something or other, this is a good one. If you've got a little spot you can lie down, it's just the most super easy way just to release your lower back, especially if you're not moving around as much as you normally do. We'll do one more on each side. I'm just trying to keep my head looking at the ceiling and keeping kind of neutral spine through the neck, trying to keep both shoulders and arms relaxed fairly much the same on each side on the floor. And I release here. We're going to stay on our backs. We're going to bring legs about hip width apart. So little side on or a front on, sorry. So that's about the gap. So legs, feet, knees and hips are in the same line. My feet are firmly pushed into the floor. So I've got heels, balls of feet and my toes pushing down. We're going to activate through glutes and hamstrings as we roll our spine up going into bridge. Upper body's relaxed still. Take a big breath in. As you breathe out, sink the belly, roll the tailbone off the floor. Each vertebrae rolls up, strong through glutes and hamstrings. Keep breathing out, breathing out, breathing out as high as you can go. Big breath in at the top. And then as we breathe out, we are rolling the spine back down again, sinking through the chest, through the upper belly, through the middle belly, and down into neutral spine again. We'll go again. Big breath in. As you breathe out, sink and curl all the way up to the top. We're aiming to keep hip bones square here. Everything's symmetrical and square. Big breath in. As I breathe out, I'm rolling back down again. The other aim is that we get each vertebrae rolling down individually. So rather than plonk, it is each little spine bone comes down one by one. One more, but stay at the top. Big breath in. As you breathe out, roll it up. We're going to stay up here for a couple of breaths while we do a little bit more glute and hamstring activation. So you're staying up here, breathe normally for a moment. I want you to imagine you've got something balancing between your hip bones. And as you start to lift one heel off, I'm just going to square up a bit. As you start to lift one heel off, we don't tilt. We want to keep everything completely square, and we want to keep our hips pushing up as high to the ceiling as we can. It's a big breath in. When I breathe out, all I'm doing is just lifting one heel off the floor. And breath in to release down. Super slow, super smooth. Breath out to lift. As I lift, I'm not going to shift anything through the rest of my body. I'm keeping my hips up. Breath in to release. You can either keep going with that one heel, or on your breath out, you can lift a whole foot off the floor. Make sure everything stays square. Strength through that grounded leg. Big breath in. And breath out, other side. Upper body stays relaxed the whole time. Big breath in. Let's do one more on each side. So it's either your foot or just your heel, lifting off, strengthening through hamstrings and glutes. Breath in, keeping it up nice and square. Imagine you've got something balancing between those hip bones on that lower belly. Doesn't want to roll off. Foot down, we're going to come down just the way we came up. Big breath in. As you breathe out, roll, roll, curl, curl, curl and down. Well done. Flip onto your side. I thought I might focus this next couple of exercises on glutes. So these are called clams, and I want you to get yourself in a position that your fingers are in a straight line from all the way down to your shoulder, and that's in a straight line down to your tailbone. If I have a look down, my feet are in line with my tailbone, so my knees are actually pulled in front a little bit. My knees are stacked on top of each other. My upper body's relaxed, and I'm relaxing this top shoulder. I'm taking a big breath in. As I breathe out, as always, when I breathe out in Pilates, I think about gently drawing belly in, lifting pelvic floor, gently drawing waist, and the other thing I'm going to do is separate my knees. I am kicking strong in my top glute, so I'm not rotating back, big movement. I'm making it so tight and strong through here that it's small and strong here. Breath in to release down. When I come down, I don't quite relax my leg down, still a gap. Big breath in and breath out to go up. So when I breathe out, I go into my work. When I breathe in, I start to release down. It's all slow motion, so if you go slow on the way down, you're still keeping that activation going and work harder that way. Draw the belly in, lift the pelvic floor, draw the waist in, breath out. My shoulders relaxed. Breath in to come down. Your hand can be anywhere you want it to be. Breath out to squeeze. Glutes are squeezing. Draw the belly strong. The stronger you work here, the less range you'll have, the harder you'll work that glute. Breath in to come down. So strong glutes help protect lower back. Oh, filling up the lungs, breathing, emptying out the lungs as I rotate that knee up. Breath in to come back. So if someone was looking at this part of my body right up to my, in fact, tailbone, they wouldn't see any rotation at all. And if you're finding you're not digging hard into that glute, if it's not working hard, think about what you're doing with the rest of your body, and maybe you're rotating back that little bit too far. As I breathe out, I draw the belly in, I draw the waist in, I lift the pelvic floor, glute squeezing hard, floating it down super slow so those muscles keep activating even on the way down. One more to go. And breath in to release. Well done. We are going to flip to our other sides, and we'll keep it symmetrical. Otherwise I'll miss an exercise probably if I don't do it right and left straight away. I'm coming down. I'm thinking about straight line from fingertips to my arm, to my spine, to my tailbone. Drawing the knees bent. Feet are about in line with my tailbone. My upper body's relaxed. That shoulder is relaxed. I'm taking a big breath in. And as I breathe that, I'm gently drawing the belly and lift pelvic floor, draw waist in, and if I lock it on strong here, I can only get a small move there, and my glute is kicking in hard. I love it. Breath in to slowly come down. Don't plant the knee. Keep that little gap. And breath out to go back up again. And breath in to come in. Lovely work. Keep this going. Breath out to float up. Draw the belly in strong. Breath in to come down. Breath out to float up. Breath in to come down. Breath out, draw belly and lift pelvic floor, draw the waist in, strong top glute. Breath in to come down. Try and keep the upper body relaxed. Think about the getting a big gap between your ear and your shoulder. Keep on going, breathe out to go out. Relax that shoulder. Breath in to come down. I think 2 to go. I hope no one's counting because I don't count. I just have a vibe of when I think I've got even on both sides. Big breath in, I should start counting. Breath out to go again. And breath in to come up. Nicely done. Push yourselves up into a sitting position. Let's just quickly stretch our glutes. So a couple of ways we can do this, and probably the safest way for both, for knees that are a bit tricky, is to go into 90 degrees at this knee joint and take your other knee joint back and 90 degrees there. Then try and square up a bit, and I'm going over my front knee for a little tip, and I can feel just that gentle stretch down through my glute of my front leg. Some of you will want to keep it here, but that's enough. There's no right or wrong with stretching either, so always just go into a stretch that feels good for you. Some of you might be able to get your elbows to the floor. Some of you might get your chest really close to the floor, to that knee at least. So whatever position feels good for you. While we go into this position, whenever we stretch, the breath out is where I want you to sink into the stretch more and get more depth. And you should get a beautiful release by doing that. So take a big breath in. And then as you breathe out, see if you can deepen the stretch. Oh, that feels nice. And I'm releasing up. I'm doing the same thing on the other side, flipping it around. So I have got 90 degrees at my front knee, about 90 degrees at my back knee. Square up just a little bit so I can go over my front knee. Take a big breath in. This is a nice way to do it. And then as you breathe out, start to sink into your stretch. You might be on your hands. That might be enough for your glute stretch. You might come down to your elbows, or you might be able to go all the way down. And if you're doing with this with other people in your family, which I encourage you to do a group stretch. Gosh, that's nice, isn't it? Or a group Pilates stretch if you live with other people, to encourage them to join in, because anyone can do Pilates, anyone can do stretching. It should be safe for all of you. Hopefully you've got some modifications if there's something that you can't do, but as we add on to these videos, you'll get some other ideas as well. And we are coming up here, beautifully done. I want to go into some standing stuff, so I'm going to get you all to come up. And I'm going to get you all to take your legs out super wide. I'm just going to slide my mat in. Now you've noticed that I've got bare feet, and that's important. You can have socks on if you want to. We might just do a couple of yoga stretchy poses. That's a nice thing to do as I hitch my pants up. I have got you're a mirror of me. So I'm going to say that your right foot is facing the camera, or facing your screen rather, and your left foot is facing the wall. And I've got both legs out straight, and my legs are so wide apart. That's what I want. And I want you to float your arms up and release the shoulders down. We're going to go into triangle pose. I want you to think about your right foot pushing down into the floor. The outside of the right foot stays pushing down the whole time. Take a big breath in. As you breathe out, just start to tilt to the left. We're staying square. Keep looking at the screen. Then I want you to start to float your left arm or left hand down to your leg. And your right hand, I want you to take it up. And so you've got almost a line from that right hand up in the air, straight down that arm, down to your left arm. I want you to keep pushing a flat foot down in front, and keep pushing the outside of the foot down there. Keep yourself as square as you can. Imagine you're up against a brick wall, and you can't tilt away from the brick wall. You need to be smack up against it the whole way. Keep pushing that right foot down, and I want you to see if you can slide a little bit deeper. So you might be feeling a stretch through inner thigh, through hamstrings, maybe through lower back, depends on where you're tightest. We're just going to stay here. If your shoulder doesn't like this, you can relax your shoulder down and just enjoy the stretch through your legs. But if you can, keep your arm floated up. Let's hold here, slow breaths, big breath in. As you breathe out, you sink. We'll do one more. And we're going to come out of this the way we came up. Big breath in. And as we breathe out, we float back to center. We relax the arms. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So my left toes are now pointed to the screen. Your right toes are going to be pointing to that wall. I hope I've got my left and right correct. Your arms are floating out. You roll the shoulders back and down. We take a big breath in. As you breathe out, little tilt, and then let your right hand go down. Let your left arm go up. And we hold here. Make sure your legs are strong through here. So you're pushing the outside of that foot down. We're pushing flat foot down here. And we're letting that arm float up, up, up. Gently draw the belly in, lift pelvic floor, draw the waist in. Imagine you're up against that brick wall. Big breath in. As you breathe out, maybe a little more depth. Just whatever feels good for you. Stretching inner thigh, hamstring. Wherever you're tight, you're going to feel a stretch. It should feel nice though. So if it doesn't feel good, think about what doesn't feel good. If your shoulder or neck doesn't feel good, relax it. If your legs don't feel so good, release a little bit more. If it feels okay, you can go that little bit deeper. One more breath. Stay down. And then on your next breath out, you come up. Big breath in and up, and we float and we relax the arms back and down. We've got another couple of exercises on the floor just for this set, and then we'll do a couple of stretches and then we'll finish up for this video. I want you to come down onto your bellies, all the way down. And we're just going to go into swimmers here. So I've got length through my arm, and what I want to do is think about a straight line from my head all the way down to the spine. I want to think about my left and right being absolutely even. We're going to alternate side to side. It's a big breath in, Then as I breathe out, I am drawing my belly in super strong. I'm lifting the pelvic floor. I'm drawing in through the waist. I'm floating, and it is a float. Opposite arm and leg off the floor. I breathe in to release, and we alternate that side to side. So as I breathe out, I think about drawing in through the belly, up through pelvic floor, up through midsection, and then breath in to release down. Breath out to float. So these are swimmers, and they're a small move. So what I don't want is great big arching. I don't want to overwork lower back muscles. What I'm aiming for here on the breath out is actually get that little bit taller. So think about getting longer through that arm. Think about that leg getting longer. Breath in to release. Breath out to float. You can keep going with this one, or you've got an option of adding on a little bit more. In the next one, when you breathe out, you can have both arms and legs off the floor, and we are swimming. And then breath in to release down. I'll switch it up a little bit so you can see. As I breathe out, both arms and legs off the floor, swimming. Neutral spine the whole way. We are just off the floor. Breath in to release. If it's too much for your lower back, go back to your singles. Breath out. Breath in. Maybe we'll do 4 more breaths through of either singles or doubles. Take your time. I'll stop talking, sorry, don't look up, keep going. I'll let you know when we move to our next exercise. This might be your last one. And we release here. One more exercise, still focusing on glutes and hamstrings for this little session. I'm going to get you to have a clasped hand, and I'm going to rest my head on my hand and my forehead goes down. Obviously you're going to have a peek as I do this, and then join in when you're ready. So what I'm going to do, big breath in. As I breathe out, I draw my belly in strong. I lift pelvic floor, of course, that's a given. I also do one hamstring curl as much as I can. So I'm pulling my foot in as close to my bottom as I can, and I've got a flex foot, so my heel is leading the way. And then still on my breath out, I'm going to squeeze my glute. I'm going to engage hamstring, and I'm going to float the sole of the foot up toward the ceiling. And then breath in to release down. We alternate side to side, fill up the lungs. So breath out, flex foot on the other side, hamstring, glute activates consciously, squeeze so that your foot slides up toward the ceiling. Breath in to release. On your breath out, think about the middle first. Draw the belly and lift the pelvic floor, draw the waist, then squeeze the glute as you float that sole of the foot up toward the ceiling. Breath in to release. Breathing out, belly, waist, pelvic floor, hamstring. Get that foot as close to the bottom as you can, and then squeeze to go up. If you're working out with somebody else, have a peek at each other and make sure that you're getting that really strong range and your heel is pushing up toward the ceiling. If you feel this is too much for your lower back, then what I want you to do is draw the belly in, draw the waist in, and then just do your foot flex. No lift, no lift. Breath in to release down. If your back feels okay, if you're feeling okay, on that breath out, everybody's drawing belly in, everyone's lifting through pelvic floor, everyone's squeezing the hamstring, and it's up to you whether you add your glute a squeeze and your little leg lift as well. Think about what's happening through upper body. So sometimes we end up clenching through the shoulders. Let those shoulders relax, get that nice gap. And we'll go for 4 more, so 2 more each side. Breathing out. Draw the belly in, draw the waist in, lift pelvic floor, hamstring, glute, squeeze. You are up to your last one. We are almost there. Belly, waist, pelvic floor. And squeeze. I hope you heard me talking while I had my face down in the mat. Come on up, push yourselves up. Let's do a little child's pose, a couple of stretches as we finish off. Arms are lengthened out in front, feet are together, knees are slightly separated, and I sink back. So this is a beautiful stretch to release. Releases the lower back, and I'm going to let my head rest down toward the floor. And this is a nice pose to go into. So whenever any of my classes are running, and you just want to have a breather or a break, then go into this little pose. It's a really nice stretch. and releasing here. We're going to go into gorilla pose, which is a beautiful hamstring stretch. So you're going to come onto your feet, and your feet are about hip width apart. Your knees are bent. You're going to tuck your fingertips underneath your toes. Let your head hang down. The most important thing here is that I want your belly to be stuck to your thighs the whole time. So you're going to get a hamstring stretch without straightening out the knees. From here, start lifting the tailbone up toward the ceiling, but without detaching belly from thighs. Keep it stuck there. Let the head hang heavy. And we hold here. And I just want you to think about releasing and relaxing. So relax the shoulders. Keep the belly stuck to the thighs. Lift the tailbone that little bit higher if you can. Hopefully you're feeling a hamstring stretch. And as we hold that stretch, I want you to think about releasing and relaxing through your face. It sounds weird, but it helps. Consciously think about relaxing the jaw, relaxing the tongue, release the cheeks, release the forehead. Hold here just for a moment. And gently release the fingertips away from the toes. We're going to do a gentle spine roll up. Draw the belly in, lift the pelvic floor, slowly, slowly, curling the spine up. Bottom vertebrae, each vertebrae steps on top of the next, on top of the next, on top of the next. And I thank you so much for joining me. A big virtual hug to you. Stay safe, stay well, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.